There we go. And we are live and back to another edition of the, I guess, my weekly lives on ENTP Life. So just to get into it, give you a little background on what this is all about. My name is Carl Pierre. This is my channel, ENTP Life. It is a nod to my Myers-Briggs personality type. Two psychologists worked on a typing or a personality typing called MBTI or MTBI. Let me get that correct. I believe it's MBTI. Yeah, came up with the MBTI or the Myers-Briggs, I guess, type index or whatever it stands for. I really don't know. But a few years back, a friend of mine recommended that I take a personality test. She was curious what personality type I was. And when I took the personality test and learned that I was an ENTP personality type and read how they profiled my type to the T, I decided that I was going to pay closer attention to this personality typing, particularly because I wanted to get a better understanding of myself, my strengths, my weaknesses, and how to kind of exploit that while learning how to better deal with other people, especially as I was growing my home healthcare company. I noticed that I didn't have the relationship that I wanted to have with my staff. And I was getting feedback from some of my staff members that I didn't provide enough words of encouragement, that they didn't like my communication style. And that's not who I want to be. That's not how I want to be perceived by the people who I'm working with daily. So I figured if I better understood the other personality types, I would be able to adjust myself to their needs, right? As an ENTP personality type, we don't really have a need for reassurance or getting a pat on the back at work or being told, you're doing a good job. We kind of like to only be counseled when there's a need to correct something. So just to have like pep talks is not our thing. And because I don't have that personal need, I don't really do a good job giving the pep talk to other people. Usually if you're hearing from me in my company, it's because I'm giving you a project to work on, or there's some sort of counseling that's required. So it almost makes it seem as if I'm just cracking a whip, or I'm just mean, or I'm not nice, or not friendly. I don't really do well with small talk. I tend to do very well when I'm kind of tuned into a particular topic. So if employees will try to engage me with small talk about, I don't know, sports, for instance, a Super Bowl, whatever current event is going on, I will dismiss it unless I'm interested in that topic. If an employee were to come along and say, hey, man, I was thinking about becoming a pilot, then we might break off into a 4-hour conversation about being a pilot and what that's like. So my conversation is going to be very interest driven. And if it's not part of my interest set, then there's going to be nothing to talk about. Okay. And then also being that we're kind of notorious as the ENTP personality type, I say it quickly, so sometimes it gets muffled, is that we'd like to kind of debate topics, not because we are kind of attached to a certain topic or a certain viewpoint, but we like to kind of challenge people's beliefs and see how far we can derail somebody from their core belief, because most people's beliefs are rooted in nothing other than their personal bias. So when somebody has like a strong conviction about, let's just say, religion, I might start challenging their religious beliefs just to see how deep they understand their religion and what's really the root of their commitment to their religion. So I like to kind of go there, which can be found to be rather abrasive, especially when you're touching on sensitive topics like religion, like sexual orientation, like race relations, that sort of thing. I may believe the same thing as the person that I'm arguing with or debating with, but I'll just take the opposite position just to see how far I could take them and how deep they really are into that particular topic. A lot of people will live and die by their beliefs and not necessarily have a good understanding of their whatever they're believing in. So it's like, how could you live and die by this, but not be well versed in it? Well versed well enough to debate me, who might just have a a general idea of that religion or general knowledge of that history. So anyway, that's what got me into the MBTI indexing. I just needed to understand people better so that I would be able to extract the most out of them as possible and have positive relationships. So around the same time that I became aware of the personality types, I had another channel called Hook Eat Up, where I was just doing like this cooking channel. And I liked it. I love to cook. That's one of my interests. But I didn't like the lack of engagement. I didn't like that I was only doing one thing, which is cooking. And I even started to mix it up. I would go on fishing trips, and then I would go on like aviation trips to try to bring in more content other than just preparing dish after dish after dish. And with a cooking channel or a DIY channel, people just come to consume the content and don't really engage with you. They just learn the recipe and move on. Think about how many times have you commented on a recipe that you saw online? You never do, almost rarely. So I was putting out these videos and getting zero engagement, and that it was driving me nuts because I wanted people to ask, why this ingredient? Why not this? Or I tried it this way and this came out better if you timed it this way or cooked at this temperature, whatever. But I wasn't getting that. And I was like, you know what? I need to have a channel that's reflective of me. And I can do whatever I want, cover whatever topic I want, because my interests change like the direction of the wind. In some places, the wind direction doesn't change much, but my interests change frequently. So I wanted to have just like a channel that was about me and what I do and the things that I enjoy. And I know that there's certain things that I enjoy more than others. So that would kind of be like the reoccurring theme. But if I wanted to completely depart from that traditional theme, I could. And that's where ENTP Life was born. I was like, I'm just going to do a channel on myself based on my personality type. It was a new concept to me. And I wanted to give the world like some real insight into how this personality type functions. We represent 3% of the population, or around there. Commonly referred to as the innovator, the debater. Some notable ENTPs would be Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Edison. If you're going to look at ENTPs in television, you would look at someone like Tyrion Lannister of Game of Thrones. The Joker is an ENTP personality type. If you were to kind of look at who he is, how he is, and how he behaves, that's kind of like the ENTP gone rogue in a way. Tony Stark, Iron Man, would be kind of the typical ENTP in that constantly innovating, charismatic but abrasive at the same time, very sure of himself, kind of wealthy, but not really because he cares about the money, but it's because of what he does. And by day he's running his empire, and by night, or whenever he feels like it, he's saving the world. Crazy stuff, but that's an ENTP for you. Okay, so I guess at this point, I just want to really just talk to whoever's here today, and whoever's interested in this topic, and really just kind of have a conversation. What up, Carlo? You're in the house. That's KP. Yeah, tons of KPs out there. Welcome back. And I have a really strong feeling that Carlo might also be an ENTP. We tend to be pervasive trolls on the internet. So welcome back, Carlos. I hope you are. That would be fun to chat it up with you some more. Cooking, Regina, cooking is my conviction. I love to stick my nose on all my international friends' kitchens. Awesome. What would you say is your favorite? If you have a favorite, what's your favorite type of food to prepare? And also, what's your favorite type of food to eat? Or maybe top 3, whatever comes to mind. Let me know. Curious. Derma amore. Derma amore. Hello. And happy to get on the live watching versus watching later. Awesome. Welcome. Today I'm just talking about the Myers-Briggs personality types and myself in general. But this conversation can go wherever. I'm not stuck on anything. I think we were talking about how we're the jack of all trades. And there's that expression, jack of all trades, master of none. I don't know. I like being a jack of all trades. And I think there's quite a few things that I would qualify as a master of just because of time committed. But I like to know a lot about a lot. That way I don't feel like anybody's getting over on me mentally or anything like that. I can detect when somebody's full of BS because their facts don't check against my knowledge set. So we could talk about that at length or anything else. Carlos, what about the 2%? I don't know who you're referring to as far as the 2%, but an Iron Man is fiction. Yes. That's why I told you, if you want to kind of look at the personality type of the ENTP, there's people in life that you may know in history, and there's also characters that embody those personality types. Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad is a typical ENTP. So if you want to kind of look at it from that way and say, hey, what other personalities that I could relate to or that I've seen in pop culture or TV, to give you a sense of the characteristics. But of course, Iron Man is fiction for now. Juan Sebastian Munoz Corredor. I am an INTP. What are the differences between us? So I guess the main difference is that you guys are introverted and prefer to be kind of in your own world, but very similar. So if you were to look into the INTP, I'll tell you right now. So as an INTP, you're introverted, intuitive thinking, and perceiving or prospecting. You guys are what they call the logisticians. I'm just looking at the website. I guess a notable INTP is Albert Einstein. So very high on the cognition side, thinking, kind of working your way through processes, but also good with very abstract concepts like space, time, and relativity, right? But you're more in a closed world, don't necessarily need to interact with a lot of people, might be a lab rat type of person, might be the mad scientist. So I think those are predominantly, that's the difference. Like Davil, he has a channel. He's covering the Euro homes or Italian property. He's an American who moved to Italy because he fell in love with a girl and is now investing in real estate and has a YouTube channel, but he's an introvert. And we get along just fine because we're looking at, how do we strategically approach this thing and make sense of this thing, and comfortable being in uncertain environments like a new country, not knowing the language, investing in real estate there and trying to figure it out. But I would say the greatest difference is that introverted, extroverted sort of persons or sensitive person. We might have to kind of corner you to get more words out of you, get more in conversation. But as far as ideas, philosophy, approach in life would be pretty similar. You may not volunteer your opinion to someone. You may have a well-crafted opinion of someone or something, but you might only bring it up if asked, rather than saying, hey, by the way, do you know that what you're doing is kind of sucky? If somebody were to ask you what you think about what they're doing, you would say, I think it's sucky, but you wouldn't volunteer it without being prompted. But yeah. Not a troll, just a critic. Cool. Or the 1%. I think the rarest of the personality types is the INFJ. So they might fall into that. And if you're talking about the 1% as far as wealth is concerned, I'm quite not sure what you mean. I got a buddy like you, Carlo. His name is Felix, and we go back and forth like this all the time. Regina, Thai food is my favorite. Yeah, it's one of my favorites as well. Thailand is my favorite to eat and cook, but I can say I'm an Italian kitchen expert. I'm Panamanian with 22 years of service in the U.S. military, and that gave me exposure to a lot of cooking. Yeah, Thai food. The reason Thai food is so loud as a food, and it's like flavors and textures that are just, I don't know how else to describe it besides loud. They focus on sweet, sour, savory, and spicy and salty. And literally, if you go to Thailand and you're eating at like a food stand, they'll have like a tray of sugar, chili flakes, fish sauce for the salt, and nuts and peanuts. And you could adjust the flavor profile and the acidity and the salt profile, and everybody kind of adjusts to their palate. But then you have like the curries that are coconut and basil based, and Thai basil, which is different than Italian basil because it's a little brighter. You'll have lemongrass and a lot of use of coconut milk and coconut rice. And man, Thailand, I love it, and I love the food. But it's not necessarily difficult to make. It's just difficult to source the ingredients depending on where you are. In New York City, for instance, it's a pretty diverse city. You're able to go find like a Thai food shop. So you could get some Thai basil, you could get some of the other ingredients, you could get some curry paste if you're going to have some pre-made curry paste. But when you move to like the suburbs of the US, you're not finding that. If you move to other countries, forget it. You're not going to find those ingredients. But Thai food, I love it too. It's high on my list. Thai, Indian, Spanish, French, Italian as well is pretty good. Greek food. There's great food all over the world. Where are you now? She's in Panama. But your plans are on the way to move to Italy. Well, whereabouts in Italy? Hello, ENT. What's up, Martha? Welcome. So how can an ENTP help you? Okay, good question. What I think we do very well is we connect abstract ideas really well, and we come up with pretty clever solutions to what may seem to be common or not so common problems. And we have no problem kind of explaining and expressing. And since we're able to connect abstract ideas, we can come across someone who is stuck on a problem. And since we have kind of a wide range of a knowledge base, they may be stuck on a problem like, I don't know, which camera should they buy? And that's a simple problem, but which camera should I buy and why? And an ENTP could kind of ask them what are their objectives, refer back to their knowledge base of cameras, and advise them on what they think is the best camera in about 5 minutes. Whether it's life hacks like, hey, I want to retire early. And it's kind of like, well, what is retirement to you? Like we have a pretty systematic method of deconstructing problems and giving up multiple solutions and steps to that make sense. And actually, if followed will produce the outcome that we're looking for. We teach really well. We actually teach kind of like the out the box thinker as well, that problem child who may not kind of pick up on math in the most traditional context. We might be able to teach them little games or puzzles to play to solve the problems, because that's kind of how we went about solving all the problems in our life. We don't really stick to the traditional path. We kind of like to see if we could get to the same conclusion using a different method than the one that's being taught. And because we explored all those options, if we had to teach it, we'll kind of go down each method until one of those methods resonate with the person who's being taught. So I think the best, what ENTPs have to offer the world is gnarly methods of solving problems, or problem solvers. As an ENTP, do I like surprises and the unexpected? Yes. Yes and no. I like surprises that truly surprise me. So I don't like a surprise birthday party because I'm going to be kind of trying to sniff it out in advance. So I like to be surprised, like truly surprised, where somebody had to really think and know me and maybe capture little subtleties about me to surprise me. I don't like to be kind of surprised. Like I had the other day, my partner, she wanted to surprise me with a spa session. So she was trying to plan this surprise for me, and she's asking me what time am I available, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Because I need to plan out my day. What's going on? You know, that's not the type of surprise that I would want. I thought it was a nice gesture, but that's not the surprise that I want. Yeah. So I like surprises. I liked the gesture. I thought it was sweet, but not my sort of surprise. You're an INFJ. I was surprised. Well, there's a reason why you wound up on this channel somehow. As an INFJ, they supposedly say that we are like the positive negative pair, right? We're completely different, other than the intuitive side of us, but in all other ways we're different. Feelers, judgy types, prefer order and not so much chaos. We kind of view the world in very much the same sort of way, just two sides of the same coin in a way. So you're in the right place. Welcome. What else do we got here? Thai food cleans my palate. Yeah. Especially when you knock it down with some beer. Hello, ENTP. What, where, and how would you invest? Okay, that's the question. So Martha Macaria says, hello, ENTP, Carl, etc. What, where, and how would you invest $10,000 in cash if you had it, if you have it now? Thanks. You inspire me. $10,000 in cash. Well, this is going to turn into some questions. First of all, what sort of rate of return are you looking for on that $10,000 of cash? What is going to be satisfactory to you? In my opinion, $10,000 of cash is fairly small. So if somebody was looking to invest $10,000 of cash, even if they produced a 10% yield or return on investment on that $10,000 per year, that's only going to be $1,000, right? That's not going to move and change your life in any direction. Maybe that buys you a vacation. You know, you spend 5 days in Cancun or something. That's cool because the money might have been sitting there anyway. But so first of all, that will be my first question. What sort of rate of return are you looking for? Second is, what sort of risk profile do you have? Are you willing to invest $10,000 with the chance of losing it all to make $5,000 a year, which is a pretty monstrous return, 50% on 10 grand. I would ask you, what are your skill sets? what are you knowledgeable of? What industry have you worked in? Because it makes more sense to invest along a track that you understand, because you're going to be less fearful. You're going to be more educated on that to be able to detect good from bad. And then other than that, it's just kind of what are your expectations? Some simple things that I think are pretty low risk, low maintenance, that you could produce pretty decent cash flow on is a rent to rent strategy with Airbnb. Meaning you target a property in a well-traveled place, for instance, like my Airbnb in New York City. You rented an apartment, you furnish the apartment, you post it on Airbnb, VRBO, whatever. I would say Airbnb is the most popular of the rental sites. And you manage the people who are staying in your place and the people who are cleaning your place. So you can turn, $800, $900, $1,000 profit, even more, depending on how you're managing the space, where the space is, etc., a month. So if you started with 10,000 and you're doing $1,000 a month, you're doing 120% a year, and that's not bad. That's a car payment. In some places, a mortgage payment. It's enough to live in 65% of the world. So if you were thinking, hey, I got $10,000 to invest, I want something very low touch. Like I had someone check in and check out. I had to check out today. All I have to do is message the cleaner. They're going to turn over the apartment, and I have somebody checking in on Thursday. Is it? Not Thursday, Friday. So I'll have the apartment turned over, and I'll have my new guest in for the weekend. So literally it might take me 5 minutes of texting time, and I should turn about a $250 profit on that time spent. So that's what I would do with 10 grand. I would say that's the lowest maintenance, lowest kind of taxation on your brain, high return. But it's a somewhat active investment, especially when you're getting set up. But after that, it can be fairly passive and even allow you to live a single retired life in so many places: Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, pretty much all of South America. I hope that answered your question, Martha. Juan Sebastian Munoz, again, Juan. LOL, you're generally very introverted, although have a lot of time hiding it. I am ahead of sales. Oh man, that's funny. Way off topic. About to do my first BRRRR in real estate. Any advice? Yeah, make sure the numbers are right. So for you guys who are not real estate investors or thinking about investing in real estate, the BRRRR strategy is to buy, renovate or repair, rent, refinance, and repeat that process. In order to execute a proper BRRRR, you first have to buy right, meaning you need to buy a property that's at a deep enough discount that after you repair it, you have some equity in the property, meaning that the property is worth more than you've spent so far. And you want that equity to be above 30%, right? So example, you buy a house for $40,000 in a neighborhood that is worth $100,000. And to repair it, you spend another $30,000. So what that does is put you at 70% of the after repair value of that property, meaning you have 30% equity. And the reason you want the formula to work out that way is because there's a lot of lenders that will cash you out at around 75%, right? So that 5% between your 70 and your 75 is kind of like lost in fees and stuff like that. And you essentially will be able to cash out your investment capital. So you get all your money back, plus you have the house, plus you have this $30,000 of equity that sits on your financial statement. So you're $30,000 richer, you have all your money back, you have a property that cash flows. And that's another piece. Make sure that since you're going to be renting the property out, that you are at least cash flowing on that property sufficiently. And let me just reset this. There we go. Sorry about that. And yeah, So you want to make sure that you buy right. If you're truly just getting started, I'm going to sell you on my software, not my software, that's my other thing. I'm going to sell you on my program, Killing the American Dream. It's how you invest in 1 to 4 family real estate, the way that I do it, both buy, fix and flip, and buy and holds using the BRRRR strategy. It's only about $100 a month, 97 bucks. I would check that out too, just to make sure that you get your numbers right, that you're approaching this properly, so you have a better chance of success. Even if it took you 2 months to get through the program and it cost you $200, I guarantee you're going to learn something that will at least make you $200 more, or save you, $200 from making a mistake down the line. Okay, so you're going to want to check that out. Should be in the link below here too, but I'll put this thing in here. I hope I answered your question. Is that I'm kind of going rapid fire so I could Killing the American Dream. ENTPLife.com, Killing the American Dream. And I forgot to kind of sell all my things, all the things that I'm doing. Okay. Rockman. Making a mess. Okay. Nikel. You went to Cardinal Hayes. Oh, awesome. Catholic school boy. All right. New sub here. Just been done. Okay. Yeah, I have trouble reading. That's why I like YouTube. New sub here. Just been delving into my personality type, also an ENTP, and have a great respect for your entrepreneurial ability and appreciate how you describe scaling projects in 6-month intervals. Awesome. I hope, and I'm sure that kind of makes sense to you. You know what it's like. The new shiny thing grabs your attention. So you need to know truly what your attention span is. And if you get tired of quitting projects or pumping money into projects that you end up quitting and you know that they were good, then you need to kind of design your projects or the businesses that you get into to at least be properly funded from the start so that you could hire the supportive staff that you need, or you know that you're going to get into the necessary cash flow point to hire other people within your attention span. If it's 3 months, then you better do it in 3 months. If it's a year, then you better do it in a year. If it's like me, where it's 6 months, you got to do it in 6 months, or be able to leave it in the state of, deep freeze where you can come back to it and reignite it when your attention is there again. But I totally get you. I understand. Truly understand. Regina, I want to stay in the South within an hour or two of the naval base in Naples, just in case. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know if this is directed towards me, but if it is, unfortunately, I'm not going to shut up. Okay. Nikel, do you ever have trouble holding on to money or deciding how to invest into new projects, or do you have advice for an ENTP who does? They say this about ENTPs, that we're good at making money but not keeping it, because money doesn't quite define us, right? So we understand that money is a tool to be used to buy things that we need to buy other tools, or to buy workers. So we kind of look at money as an enabler of the enabler that helps us bring the idea into fruition, right? Into something that we could look at and hold and say, this is real now. So we kind of will move money kind of quick. And sometimes we'll make our decisions a little too fast, that we'll say, yep, the money's here, I'll spend it here, and we'll see what happens, right? A lot of it, money experimentation and money loss in that way. As long as you don't identify your worth with money, when you do lose it, the lesson that you're going to build off of that lesson, unless you let it cripple you. All right. I think maybe a good strategy is to have someone who's a little more fiscally conservative be by your side to kind of question your intention on how you're spending money, especially in your business. Somebody who's going to say, hey, have you thought about pumping the brakes here? Or you have these money leaks here that you're not paying attention to because your focus is somewhere else. So it's good to have, someone conservative kind of minding your money, and kind of doing your accounting and keeping track, because I know for sure you're not going to care about the details of your accounting. You're just going to keep moving forward. So for me, I found that it's really important to have people like that on my team who are watching the dollars and who are projecting out and who are advising, hey, this particular thing is cash flow negative and you're using too much of your resources. Why are you losing money here in the first place? Why do you still have this business open? What are you doing about it? It's important to have those sort of external objective people to advise you. I hope that answers that. Thank you. I love the fact that you're here sharing, some time with me. It definitely teaches me a lot. The Jesuits. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Today I'm seeing the €1 houses in Musamelli. Like today you're seeing them, like you're actually in Musamelli checking them out. Are you a realist, a visionary, or a mix? Personally, I'm an ENTP and a mix of both. Is it the same for you? Yeah, I would say it's a mix, because if you're just a visionary and you, like as an ENTP, if you can't connect the dots from here to the vision with fact, then it's kind of just a wish or a dream or something like that. And you're not going to give it much merit. So you're going to test your vision against the rules that you understand today, right? So whether it's science rules, math rules, physics, whatever the framework is. So you're going to say, hey, is this dream, how do I get to this dream using factual information? So I would say ENTPs are pragmatic visionaries, right? We're going to be logical in how we make our decisions. So it can't just be this hopeless dream of, I don't know. I can't even think of just something that is just a dream without there being a concrete pathway. And then on top of that, I'm a firm believer that humans and everything in this world kind of creates what it needs to create. Everything that is physically here in front of you has been created by you or the universe in itself, right? The oxygen in the room, the air that you're breathing was a concentration of energy into matter, and that matter somehow nourishes you. Yeah, and as you exhale, you nourish the plants. Everything is kind of connected, but I firmly believe that you could bring in and out whatever you need to into this world or simulation that we're in. So I don't think anything's too far-fetched. It's just, when does it happen? How quickly? How much time do you pay on attention to that? Anything that we could imagine is going to happen at some point, just like inventing aircraft, nuclear fission, all time travel will happen at some point. I know it sounds spacey, but we're examining time and looking at the relationship of time. If time truly exists, how do we manipulate time? How do we manipulate space? So we'll eventually figure it out, and things will get pretty interesting. Caroline K. 20 seconds in and I already hear talk about investments and numbers. As an INFP, that's pretty much not on my mind, correct? Apparently, many INFPs clash with ENTPs, but I always appreciated the precision. I don't know. My niece is an INFP. One of my employees is an INFP, and we never quite clash. We may just have different philosophies on things, but not like clashing. And it also depends on what age you encounter us. Because if you encounter us in high school or in our youth, I don't know how old Carlo is, but I imagine that he's on the younger side. And if he is an ENTP, that's why he's kind of abrasive. But if we're young and we're kind of debating, your feelings, uh, we could come off as pretty abrasive. But as I'm older, I appreciate INFPs a lot because they're really nice people who think in a very I don't know, caring way. They really care about what's going on around them, and they're also flexible. They kind of go with the flow. So even if they disagree with you, it's kind of like, oh, we kind of disagree and move on, as long as it's amicable and that sort of thing. I've gotten along with INFPs. I like them. ENFPs as well. The NPs I like. Cool. Glad I did. So, what is it that you're trying to get? Because I know if you're still here, Martha. What are you looking to get out of that $10,000 investment? Are you looking for passive income? Or are you looking for something low risk? Or are you looking for a way to flip that into $20,000? Curious. Caroline K. Of ENTPs and their detached perspective. Plus, many of the ENTPs always manage to make me laugh. Anyway, cheers to you. Good luck. Okay. Thank you. Good luck to you too. Not that I really believe in luck, but you know what I mean. Hope life is going well for you and will continue to go well for you according to how you design it to be. Nick FL, ENTP life is crazy underrated. Thanks for the value that you share. Thanks, man. I don't know if it's underrated. I don't know if it's fairly underrated or not. I would say, I don't know. People will get what they get out of it. I think one of the problems with the channel, in my opinion, is that the ideas are very scattered. So someone who may come, for instance, right now I have 13 people who are live now. There's some videos where I'll get up to 30 live people, 30 in the audience. So there's not many people who are interested in the Myers-Briggs personality types. But if I was doing a video on Italy, which is where probably 50% of my subscriber base comes from, there'll be more engagement, more people will get the signal, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think people take what they need to take from the channel. And since there's so many different things, it could be healthcare related, it could be real estate related, it could be just Italy related, it could be Myers-Briggs related, it could be aviation from time to time when I do put that up. So people take what they take. And I think with time, as the network in the community grows, I think people find more and more value from it and start to say, wow, man, there are concepts that are being discussed here that I wouldn't normally give attention to. So I hope that what ends up happening is that I kind of put new ideas into people's heads, things that they may have not considered before. And that's where the value add would be, and where people start to say, oh, well, this is the value add of ENTP life. It's not just randomness, but it's random, but it's giving me little bits of information to maybe redirect myself or have better conversations or better understanding. So Freudian slip. I don't know, man. Carlo, you confuse me sometimes. You love my work. Thank you. I love your attention, actually. Question: how do you reinvest your cash flow? Can you invest pre-tax cash flow into other asset classes? Can you? Okay, I'm going to try to make sense of that. So let's just say I have a property that's cash flowing, right? Your question is, what do I do with that cash flow to invest it and compound it, right? And what can I do to do that on a pre-tax level? So on a pre-tax level, you could reinvest in whatever you're claiming as your gains. You could do whatever you want with it, but you're still going to have some sort of cash tax consequence depending on how it's registering. But let's just take cash flow from a real estate deal that you're reporting. If you're reporting the income, you have cash flow of $1,000 a month. Maybe you don't have a 401k plan, or yeah, that might be a good way. You could take the cash flow from that real estate, put it into a 401k, especially, or a retirement, a qualified pre-tax or tax-deferred retirement account, like a 401k, and you can make your contributions there. And that $1,000, as long as you're under the annual limit, that $1,000 of cash flow could be invested into that thing. You could also turn around and spend that $1,000 on maybe ad buys for a product that you're selling, right? So using cash flow from one business to potentially, maybe it's ad buys for, I don't know, we buy real estate cash signs or something like that, so that you're reinvesting that into the growth of your business. So then it qualifies as an expense and is no longer considered positive cash flow because you spent it. It's all a matter of what you end up reporting and what qualified investments you can make. So on just a cash flow, like cash flow from my home care business, I buy real estate with, because I'm going to pay taxes on the cash flow. But if I take $100,000, I'm buying $400,000 and even more than $400,000 worth of real estate, and then creating additional value. So yeah, I'm going to pay $30,000, $40,000 in taxes on that 100K, but I would have bought maybe $1 million worth of real estate that has, equity of 300,000. So of course that's just a multiplier of my money by doing that. And then that asset will generate cash flow as well. So that's kind of how I use it. There's not so many tax deferred options for you. So you're going to have to reinvest that cash flow into something that's going to ultimately earn you more. Nikhil, amazing insight. Seriously, you appreciate it. So are you, man. Not a problem. Thank you for the feedback. I never quote your name. I think my name is listed right here. Carl Pierre, ENTP Life. I don't know if you see that or not, but that's my name, Carl. Olin, time travel. Yes, I think time in general is such a strange human construct. I guess that's how we measure life and that sort of thing. I really don't understand how real time is. It's kind of a human thing. Okay, Carlos Zapp. Most people going onto your channel want step-by-step instruction on how to buy real estate and businesses. Just saying that your team is doing it leaves viewers dissatisfied. Leaves viewers or leaves you dissatisfied. If you have questions that you need to be answered in a step-by-step way, this is the platform to do so. So once again, what's your question, Carlo? Quentin, what's up? I am an ENTP A, assertive, but my IQ is also in the top 2%. Yeah, that's a tip. It's about right. Given an ENTP strengths, I wonder if all ENTPs have high IQs as a requirement for or a side effect of having this personality type. I think okay, IQ tests also have a time factor, and they also rely heavily on like logic sets, right? When you take an IQ test, it's a lot of analogies, a lot of sequencing, and then there's a time parameter. So we tend to be good at those things. So we should score high on IQ test. So I think, yeah, I think deep down, I think a lot of ENTPs also may be classified as having ADHD, especially in childhood. And ADHD is related to or kind of dopamine dependent in a way. It's relate like our dopamine. One way that they describe people with ADHD is that they have like an addiction to their own dopamine, meaning that they stay stimulated to produce more dopamine, which is kind of like our happy neurotransmitter. And because of that, that's where the hyperactivity comes from, but also that's where the creativity comes from. And if you know anybody who has ADHD, or you study the topic, ADHD, Tourette syndrome, bipolar disorder, all live along the same genetic sequence. So for me, in my family, there's a high there's just a high percentage of us that have bipolar disorder and a high percentage of us that have ADHD. I was diagnosed as having ADHD as a child, never was medicated for it because I was too skinny and my parents didn't want to kind of medicate me. So I adjusted and dealt with it. And this is who I am. But I have multiple family members, nieces, nephews, all with the same brothers with bipolar disorder as well. So aunts. I think it's kind of just our makeup. So I think genetically there's something happening with ENTP personality types and all personality types, really. There's something happening that kind of primes us for how we interact with the world around us, right? And whether that's we have a high IQ, then okay, we have a high IQ, or we're able to kind of break things down in a very abstract way, whatever. But I do, there is definitely a parallel between the two. I guess that's the short answer that I've at least observed. What is INFP? What does it mean? What does it stand for? So INFP, so there's 16 personalities in the Myers-Briggs index. One of those types is the INFP. So there's four letter groups, right? So you're either introverted or as an I, or extroverted. You're either intuitive or sensing. You're either feeling or thinking, and you're either perceiving or judging. And the different combinations of those letters are there. So it's like, how do you express yourself with the world? Are you more inside yourself, or are you more in the world, introverted, extroverted? Are you intuitive, meaning that you can grasp loose concepts without necessarily visualizing or sensing them? Just off of the idea is enough for you to make sense of something. Then you're more on the intuitive side, versus a sensor who needs to see, feel, touch. Those are people who are like the black and whites of the world, that they need to read it, see it, watch it on TV. If you talk to them about an abstract concept like time travel, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? So the sensors need to physically sense, eyes, ears, taste, touch, that sort of thing. Thinkers versus feelers is kind of how they make their decisions. Is it logical and from the mind, or is it from the heart, or from the subconscious. So an INFP is an introverted, intuitive person, uses feelings as their indicator of how to make decisions, and they're fairly disorganized. They don't really like structure. They could be organized with things like in their space, but they don't really like the routines in life and to be super restricted and funneled. And people who are that way are classified as INFPs. You made a Freudian slip about your app. Not giving you my age, but old age and treachery will overcome youth and enthusiasm. I don't know, man. I really don't understand you. Passive income will be great. $10,000 flip for 50% returns in 2021 will be great. And you are in healthcare. Man, 50% on 10K. That's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough. You might have to flip like a piece of equipment or something. I don't know where in healthcare you are, but let's just say you're able to buy some medical devices on the cheap somehow and resell them to a nursing facility or something. Again, and I guess that could be something like one nursing home or hospital is closing, and you're able to refurbish and sell IV pumps or something. I don't know. That's something that would come to mind from a healthcare perspective, but you would have to be flipping. You'd have to be sourcing some sort of product undervalued, optimizing it in some way, or not even at all, and repackaging it to somebody else to get a 50% return. But it might be kind of labor intensive. Passive and 50% you're not finding. Because if you could find something that's passive at 50%, a lot of big money would be there, and the 10%, the 10,000 that you're putting in would be kind of obsolete. Yeah, 50%. Oh, that's, you have to think about that. If you had $1 billion, that investment would yield $500 million in 1 year. Like that just doesn't happen. Hello, Julie. Have you been able to get back to your properties in Italy? No, I have not. And it's driving me nuts because Italy is closed and shut down again. So I'm not able to go back. Once I am able to go back, I'm going. So I could put the final touches on it, so I could film some more, so I'm not reusing the same freaking content every time I update on Italy, because I have the same slices of videos to work with. But no. Oh, this is going to do this thing again. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. Sebastian, any advice on sizing repairs / rehabs in terms of cost? When you are outside the USA, no, I have no idea. You're gonna have to get estimates from local tradesmen, local contractors, and you're gonna have to probe them to see how knowledgeable they are to really give you good price estimates. But yeah. Hi, Carl. Just love your brain. The subject matter is irrelevant. Trying to learn how to process information more effectively. Oh man, I don't know if I have any tips for that. Maybe break it into parts in the format that you're best able to learn. Andrea Ramsey. Hi, my name is Andrea Ramsey. Hello. I emailed you in regard to opening a home health care agency. I need a consultant and wanted to hire you. I'm moving to Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas in about 5 months. You don't want to hire me to be your consultant because I don't have the time to properly consult you on a one-to-one basis, and I would charge way too much money. So what I would say is, if you where did you email me? And and then I could put you in contact with the consultants that I'm working with, and they could help you get set up in Texas. I wouldn't do that, just because honestly, my day is like this. I get up at 5 and I start working out, and that's the first thing that I do on most days. Then I go into the office by about 7 or 8 a.m. and then I'm here till 5. Then I go home, spend some time with my kid, cook dinner, and then sometimes I'm back at the office like tonight, or I'm working until the evening. So to sit there and work on your business and not work on mine it just doesn't make sense for me financially to do that. And then if I'm going to charge you, then I'm going to charge you a lot, and that doesn't make financial sense for you. Not that I don't want to help. Where I could help you is on the software side, coaching you in the bit, because our clients, we do a monthly seminar or webinar where we kind of go over home healthcare strategy, different topics, go over the software again. So on that side, I'll definitely be able to kind of work with you because that fits directly into my business. But on a one-to-one coaching basis, I just don't do that. It's not cost effective for you, and it's not the best use of my time if I do it that way. So I could introduce you though. Chris Naharo. Okay. Or Najaro. Naharo. I can't, that's hard for me, the double R. What kind of real estate should I look into if I have 100K to invest in Florida? Once again, I don't know if you were here earlier, but what sort of touch point do you have? Like how active do you want to be in that investment? How much money do you want to make? What rate of return are you looking for? If you're looking to get into real estate, where and why? So I would personally, I've been looking into Orlando, Jacksonville, Daytona Beach area, Tampa, everywhere. Really, I'm learning the Florida market. So right now I'm investing in Fort Lauderdale because that's where I live. And my time is pretty restricted. But looking at Jacksonville is a growing city. There's a lot of migration into Florida, and it's one of the affordable cities. So Jacksonville is pretty cheap. Orlando's pretty cheap. Miami and Broward are a little more expensive. Tampa is getting more expensive too, but there's a lot of people relocating there. Tampa's awesome, an awesome city. So I would kind of look in those areas where there is growth and where $100,000. I have one deal that's sitting in my mailbox. It's a wholesale deal. I think they want $69,000 for a house in Jacksonville that currently rents out for $850, and market rate for that same sort of property could be about $900 to $1,000. So there's some value add there with a new tenant. And for $70,000, let's just say you had to put another 20 to spruce it up. So 90,000, you're doing about 13% a year on that. I would consider that good, or fair. But that's just my 2 bits. Make sure if you're interested and not already signed up, where's this stupid thing? My link. Bam. Make sure you check out that program. Get you on the right track. Where was I? GameStop. Okay. I think it's funny because it simply exploited the market in a way that has been exploited in the past. So two things happened with GameStop. And this has happened over and over and over and over again in the stock market, usually with penny stocks. The thing with GameStop is that there was a large unusually large number of shorts on GameStop. And that can be quantified, right? So if you identify a stock that is fairly illiquid, right, means there's not many shares traded a day, there's a huge short position on it, all you could do is start to create demand. Like if you have a platform like with a million subscribers or whatever the case may be, you could actually start pumping that demand, saying buy GameStop because we're going to squeeze the shorts, literally. So when you're forcing a short squeeze, what happens is you're buying up the supply and pushing up the price. Anybody who's short needs to cover their shorts, and when they do, they create even more buy-side pressure. So you create like this positive feedback loop by increasing the demand, and then that increases the pressure for the shorts to cover their shorts, which creates more demand because they have to buy the shares to cover their shorts. So that's what happened with GameStop. I thought it was clever, but I didn't participate at all because it's pure hot potato game at that point. That's not the sort of trading that I do, but that's what it is. Good night, Carlo. Sleep well. Are you invested in crypto? No. Am I hedging against hyperinflation? Not really. I like to invest in things that are human need in a way. And whether I invest in one currency versus the other, it's all a matter of faith. What faith are people placing in that thing? If you control the things that people need, then inflation is not really going to bother you so much, because people need to eat that cow. People need to live in that home. And if you have to adjust to inflation, then you just adjust and you still have this thing that's in demand, regardless of how far inflation goes. So I don't really get involved in currencies. I haven't participated in Bitcoin at any point. Not last year, not this year, not when it was just came out. I never gave it time to understand it, because it's just like why I don't invest in precious metals. I just don't see what I'm going to do with a bar of gold. Other people give it value, but I can't eat it. I can't live in it. What can I really do with gold? Just like money, what can I really do with I could exchange with dollars now because people are accepting it. But what if I'm in a situation like Venezuela where the dollar becomes obsolete and useless? At least if I still have something tangible like food or shelter, I could trade, I could negotiate with that. But what can I really do with gold? When someone is starving, what is gold going to do unless they could sell it and people still value that metal for whatever reason? I never understood that, so I don't know. I don't deal with crypto. Quentin Norris, very interesting that you say ADHD and bipolar live in the same genetic sequence, because a lot of my family members have ADHD and bipolar disorder. My ADHD symptoms as a child came from anxiety, however. Yeah. Makes sense. John Doe, I find that eating my own ejaculate gives me a huge energy boost in the morning. I think it would be I think it's false energy. You might be using more energy than your ejaculates to ejaculate. So I think that may be false. What consultants are you working with for home health? Well, I introduce them directly because they give me a kickback if I do. So I'll email me and I'll introduce you, and you'll see if you want to work with them or not. But I'm using them personally. So I just figured that I don't feel like giving them a bunch of free plugs without getting compensated for me talking about them. So that's why I do that. And I told them, I said, look, I get traffic for it. I want to be compensated if I'm going to refer you, because they're charging me for their services. So I might as well charge them for a lead. Edwin Rich, do ENTPs tend to have more suicidal thoughts? I'm ENTP myself. I feel this way. I don't know if we have more suicidal thoughts or not. I think if you're having suicidal thoughts, then you should seek professional help. Definitely not from me. Um, Speak with a psychologist, speak with a psychiatrist, and really try to determine what's causing your depression and take care of it. Obviously, if you're bringing it up in this format, you are looking for help. So look for help in the right place. And there's nothing wrong with, I have a brother who killed himself. So for me, I approach mental health and mental illness like any other disease process. It's no different than hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, anything, right? So if you're dealing with mental health issues, go to the professionals, work on it with them. Okay. Your friends and family will never quite understand. Um, the general public may not quite understand, but the professionals do understand, and they have different methods, whether it's medication, counseling, therapy, extra, whatever they prescribe and recommend to help you get out of that state. All right. So I would say I think it's independent of your personality type. I think ENTPs put a lot of pressure on themselves to achieve, and when they don't achieve, it might create a downer effect. Um, but take the recommendation seriously. I hope you go and get the proper help. Um, and that's my recommendation to you. Just seek help, and don't be ashamed of it, because if you had, I don't know, like John Doe over here, some erectile issues, you would consult your physician and potentially get some pills to help with that. Treat mental illness the same way. Sometimes it's chemical, sometimes it's genetic. It's a disease. Just because it's a disease of the mind, you can't think yourself out of mental illness. Treat it like a disease, respect it, get treatment as if you're trying to treat common cold, an infection, or erectile dysfunction like John Doe. Who's probably most likely Carlo. Anyway, next question. I'm going to start wrapping up soon. All right, Andrea, I'll I'll take down your email address just so I'll email you or find it, because I'm not sure where you emailed me. I have like 7 email inboxes, so it gets a little confusing for me. Is Ardria 633. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna take this down now, or else I'll never do it. Ardria 633 at AOL. Okay, I'm going to email you from my home care email address, and then we could kind of see what I could do as far as the introduction is concerned. John Joe. It's a medium of exchange. How does a guy like you not see the value? I don't know. I'm just not interested. I don't know how I'll say. It's my brother has been talking to me about Bitcoin. I said, if you want to invest in Bitcoin, go for it. It's just not my thing. I think it's extremely volatile, and I don't like that. And I haven't given the time to understand how crypto works. And people are trading with it. They're trading with it. I mean, there's other forms of arbitrage out there. I don't know. It's just not for me. Any experience or know anyone investing in the Atlanta, Georgia market? BRRRR. I only know one person that I'm friendly with that is looking to do deals in Atlanta. He has a channel here, Mike Ojo, Mojo Grip. You can try reaching out to him. He just started like a personal finance sort of page. So I think called Mike Ojo. So if you just look up Mike Ojo, Mike Mike Ojo, I know he had sent me a deal that he's working on now in Atlanta. He might be interested in working with you. Edwin, would I rather bet 10,000 on Russian roulette or on Bitcoin? Well, roulette is just about 50-50. And Bitcoin, I would have more time to think. I'd put my money into Bitcoin rather than Russian roulette, because Russian roulette is going to take my 10,000 and bring it to zero in 30 seconds. I don't think Bitcoin is going to go to zero in 30 seconds. So I'd put my money into Bitcoin rather than the roulette table. Yeah, you see, it's same logic. Bitcoin all the way. Simple logic. Roulette lasts about 2 minutes of fun. Bitcoin using the thrills for years. Nah, for me, it's a matter of how quickly can I get in and out? Can I conserve my capital? I could look at a Bitcoin chart and just use technical analysis to understand the supply and demand at that time. If I was going to trade it, but I haven't gotten into it, because then I don't want to start. I know myself. If I start getting into something, then I'm gonna give it too much attention and too much value. Then I get narrow-minded. I'm just avoiding it for now. AA pills. Why, when you could heal naturally? I don't know, man. There's quite a few things you can't heal naturally. So I think use what you can to get the job done. I know a lot of people don't like to mess with pills for mental health, or pills in general, or sometimes it's just pills for mental health, but they have no problem with Tylenol and other prescription drugs. Use what works. If it can help, use it. That's my thinking, at least. In places like Venezuela and other places with large government control on banking, they use crypto to get past it, then use peer-to-peer marketplaces to exchange the crypto for national current. Yeah, I think all Bitcoin is a currency, right? And like all currencies, its value is based on what people will assign to it and what faith the greater majority have in that currency, and are they willing to trade and barter on that, right? Whether it's seashells, it's salt, it's gold, it's silver, it's freaking green dollars, whatever. So Bitcoin is becoming more and more of an accepted form of currency, but I just don't understand why people are willing to pay up for it. I don't understand what's driving the value there, because people are willing to accept it and more people are willing to buy it. So truly its value is only based on supply and demand of concepts of currency. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's kind of hard to wrap my mind around. Of course, you can make money on it, dollars, whatever, do whatever you want. It's just not my thing. Any feedback on Port St. Lucie, Florida? Haven't been there, don't know, haven't researched it. Unfortunately, no answer. As an ENTP, I'm frustrated with my job as a key account manager, but the job gives me safety and regular income. Should I quit and take a risk for a bigger challenge? I'm kind of a coward, though. Well, this is going to be my last question that I'm answering, so I'm going to try to make it a good one. So, as an ENTP, I'm frustrated with my job as a key account manager, but the job gives me safety and regular income. Should I quit and take a risk for a big challenge? I'm a coward, though. I don't know, man. I think you know yourself, right? And you're self identifying as a coward, whatever that means to you. If you're unhappy in your job, then you should probably change your job. And you need to understand that, money exchanges hands every day in a lot of different ways. You have to also understand that just because you leave your job, even if you go through economic hardship for some period of time, I can almost guarantee you're not going to drop dead and end up homeless on the streets because you changed a job and you took a chance. Maybe you're going to experience some discomfort. Maybe you might get heckled by friends and family when you're down on your luck as you're making your transition. Or you could finesse it and make your transition gradually by setting up in something else. So you have kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out until you're on solid ground, right? But there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than consistently doing something that you can't stand just because it provides you security. I think that's kind of like, I think that destroys confidence. I think that destroys happiness. I think that will make you a miserable person. And the people that you love are going to be affected by that. So I would recommend that you at least try to start moving towards the thing that you really want to do, and figure out how you're going to monetize that equally or more than what you're doing now. And that's going to mean that you're going to be working more time, because you're going to have to work outside of your job to create this additional value somewhere else, right? This additional income somewhere else. That would be my recommendation. Cut out all the crap that you do, whatever crap you may be doing in your day that's eating your time. Maybe cut an hour of sleep off of your nights. Cut out the television, cut out, ENTP life. Cut out whatever is distracting you from putting that effort into the next thing that's going to help you get out of your current situation, and make that happen. At least that way you hedge your fears and your concerns, and then you are moving towards and into the role that you want for yourself. That's my recommendation. Okay, I'm going to answer this last question by Quentin, and I'm out. Is your aid book email where I could reach you for a consultant? You could try to reach me on any email. It's just that I pay far more attention to my aid book email than others. I'm scratching my butt. Sorry about that. But getting tired too. So yeah, you can reach out to me on my aid book if you have it, and then I'll make the plug with the consultant. And then if you want to work with them, that's totally up to you. And if you are working with them, let me know so that I could shake them down for some money. That's pretty much it. You guys have yourself a good night. Thank you for joining me on this installment of ENTP Life's live Q&As. I like it. I like to have these conversations. It's about nothing really, just about anything. And this week I'm putting out another funny moment, another video on Italy. And on my Instagram, if you're not on my Instagram, that's ENTP_life on Instagram. I'm resharing some content on Italy there, just because I don't see this quite much conversation happening there around that topic, and figured I'll put it out there. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I put up motivational quotes there, and I also share pictures and content and that sort of thing. Not really a big fan of Instagram. It's not my preferred platform. This is. And that's it. But anyway, have yourself a good night. Be well, be safe. Not sure if it was Edwin that was talking about the mental health issues before, but whoever was citing that they were having depression issues, please, honestly, consult with a psychiatrist, consult with a psychologist, work through that depression. You'll come out on the other side. And I wish you the best. All right. So be well. And I'll see you guys next week.